It's of no surprise that Eubank Jr. and Billy Joe Saunders are going to be fighting. It's also of no surprise that the fight has been announced now. Um, the surprise for me, the only surprise for me, is that Billy Joe Saunders is actually taking this fight on now. Bearing, bearing in mind that he's been British, Commonwealth, and European champion. Um, in terms of backward steps, and I'm saying backward only in the sense that Eubank Jr. hasn't got any titles of note to talk about compared to Billy Joe Saunders, who has done it the correct way, British, Commonwealth, and European. You've got to give him credit for that. So he's gone through all the levels. Um, but the only person I think that comes straight to mind is when Gary Mason decided to fight Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was like had 15 fights or 14 fights before he met him. I think Lewis was European champion in his 15th fight and fought Gary Mason. And Gary Mason was ranked number 2 or number 3 in the world. He was on the verge of a world title shot, and he fought Lennox Lewis. He lost the fight and lost his world ranking. And Gary Mason, after that, obviously retired because of the injury to his eye. But that fight, whoever advised Gary Mason to take that fight, in hindsight, probably Mason could have swerved Lewis, and Lewis went on to be one of the best heavyweights in the modern era. So yeah, the other thing that springs to mind is history repeating itself. I remember Nigel Benn. For those of you who were around the time when Ben fought Eubank the first time, the amount of animosity that Ben had, the genuine needle he had towards Chris Eubank, and ultimately Eubank won the fight. Now, if his dad has been, has made Eubank Jr. to have this persona where he's winning fights mentally before he gets in the ring. Because if you're fighting mad, you're not fighting to game plan. And, Eubank Jr. has wound up Billy Joe Saunders. Now, I've never seen Billy Joe Saunders fight mad. And I think Billy Joe Saunders is very much of a technician. Is he going to be able to fight still coolly under pressure against a man that he is calling Eubank instead of Eubank? Is he going to be able to keep his cool under pressure from Eubank winding up from press conferences and goading him? Is he going to be able to keep cool? That's going to be the thing. And when the punches are raining in on Saunders, is he going to be able to handle all that? Now, I said this before, and I will repeat this again. When I used to box in Sussex, I was fortunate to live not too far from Chris Eubank, and I would remember Chris running along. When I used to go for my runs in the morning and running along the seafront, I'd see Chris, and sometimes in the evening I'd see him going past, and he did some running, and he did a lot of stopping and posing, much like he does in the ring. And I'm telling you this story as a foot point to say that Chris Eubank, I've spoken to him enough, and he's a man with a lot of pride, and there is no way in hell that he will allow his son to enter the boxing ring and not be 110% prepared. I don't believe that Billy Joe Saunders would be the first man to put a beating on um, Chris Eubank Jr. No, I believe that Eubank Sr. would have seen his son take a beating and then turn around and said to him, "Do you really want to be a part of this?" You'll remember the Eubank um, series they did at home with the Eubanks, and there was a part, if you remember, when his son, which was Eubank Jr., wanted to get into boxing, and Eubank Jr. was against it. And Lennox Lewis came around and said, "You know what? Give the boy a shot. If he wants to do it, let him do it." And of course, now we've got Eubank Jr. So I don't believe for 1 second that Chris Eubank Jr. is going to be some walkover in the park for Billy Joe Saunders. This could be a slippery night for Billy Joe Saunders, and added to the point as well, he's made some statements that he's setting himself up for a fall. To be honest, he's made statements that if he doesn't beat Eubank Jr., his dad would beat him with a chain. Well, I like Billy Joe Saunders, and I think he's done things the right way. if he doesn't beat Eubank Jr., then his dad may well be coming for him for the chain, and that probably won't be a pleasant sight. So, like I said, there's a lot of pressure. There's more pressure on Saunders than there is on Eubank Jr. Also, news that another grudge match, Cleverly versus Bellew 2, is in the works and will soon be announced. So that's great news as well. Don't forget to check out my interviews with James Ali Bashir, who reveals about Anthony Joshua and Dillian White at a training camp where both fighters didn't see eye to eye. For those of you who don't know, Dillian White fought Anthony Joshua in the amateurs and beat Joshua in the amateurs. So there was a bit of needle there at a Klitschko camp. So it's not the first time that a Klitschko has sat back and watched two British fighters disputing their supremacy. And it looks like, according to the interview, Klitschko had the pleasure of watching it all over again. I didn't get as heightened as Hay and Chisora, but who knows. So that's some interesting stuff there. Yeah, and I did an interview today with Peter Fury, and a pretty explosive interview. I won't ruin it, apart from the fact that Peter said in no uncertain terms that Tyson Fury would have annihilated Ustinov, and he thinks Ustinov has a padded record, and that he would have put Hughie Fury in the ring in November against Ustinov. So an interesting interview. Love interviewing Peter Fury. He's a great guy to talk to, all speaking honestly and from the heart, and a good man. Good man. And finally, I've done an interview with Emily Pandalakis. Any of you who have done or watched BaylorIC TV in the past would know our third interview or fourth interview was 2013 with a lady called Emily Pandalakis, who does a lot of boxing PR, boxing publicist. A great interview to listen to if you are a boxer or boxing manager and need some PR. There's quite a few boxers in the world today I think could do with a PR agent. Those who are constantly swearing all the time and getting themselves fined. No names being mentioned, but you know, there's a few of them that could do with a PR agent. Although there are others that, you know, do that, and I believe they do that because they want to sell tickets, and you know, they may act differently now. But yeah, PR agent is good as long as the fighter is still able to be natural in their way and speaking without the swearing. Then I think that a PR agent is very good. Having said that, there are some good PR agents or publicists, and there's some shocking ones that do the fighter no favors at all, and are of more harm. They're a gatekeeper, but they're blocking everybody out apart from the big TV networks, which doesn't do their fighter really any favors, because when they do get in those TV networks, they can't speak what they want to say. They've just got to do what the PR tells them to say. So you don't really get a real feeling of what that fighter's about. And a lot of their conversations are sound bites, and so therefore you can't really get into the fighter. So yeah, that's me babbling on. That's about it. I think I've got to do a few more of these videos where I'm just talking to you as opposed to throwing up interviews and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna add a new section to this, hopefully, to this boxing section that I do, and I'll put it out and see how responsive it is. If I'll do 2 or 3 of them, and if it has good response, I'll do more of them. If not, I'll stop. But yeah, that's it. Enough of my rambling. I think I'm off now. Thank you so much for listening to what I had to say, and I'm off. Take care. Bye bye.